In the section on listening and analysis, I mentioned that if you were unsure of the meaning of a phrase or a particular passage in a speech, then you could ask the speaker for clarification when they had finished speaking, of course. Well, a word of caution. You need to think carefully about whether it's a good idea to ask a question. You need to weigh up the pros and cons before deciding whether to ask a question of your speaker at all. Because, of course, you can't ask a speaker to repeat a whole 5-minute speech if you haven't quite grasped their logic or you're not sure where they were going with their arguments. If you haven't understood the gist of the speech, then that suggests that you need to work on your background knowledge and your language skills. If you do decide a question, be careful about the phrasing of that question. You need to ask it in the way that is most likely to elicit a very clear and very concise response from your speaker. If you ask a vague question, for example, something like, "Could you just repeat what you said after the bit about nuclear energy being unpopular in Germany?" you are very likely to get a vague answer in reply, and that won't help you interpret any better. Some of the factors that you need to consider are these. If you ask a question, are you likely to understand the answer any better second time around? Is it really important to check this particular fact? And in asking the question, are you likely to draw attention to your own inadequacies, which might lose you the confidence of your audience? So the best questions to ask are the ones that are very clear and very precise, and that seek to obtain a specific piece of information. Typical examples would be checking a figure, or perhaps checking a name. But do use this technique with caution, because if you ask a question about something very obvious, for example, "Sorry, what was the name of the President of the United States?" then you risk exposing glaring gaps in your general knowledge, and you will lose credibility with your audience. So there are good questions to ask, and then there are bad questions to ask.